2 stories, 7 deaths, no clear motives, no justice. First story, May 1924, Marysville, Pennsylvania. The bodies of a couple were found murdered from a single shot from a rifle. Leah Ellenberger, 21 years old, and from Hollidaysburg, Pennsylvania, and her boyfriend, Harry Ganster, 20, were found dead in their vehicle. Leah was in the driver's seat at the steering wheel. Harry was found outside of the car in a position denoting that he was about to get into the car and had been standing. The so-called killing shot had gone through Harry's back and heart and into Leah's body. No weapon was found at the scene. When the couple had not returned from their flower-picking outing on the night of May 16th, Harry's father led a group, including Leah's uncle, into the Blue Ridge Mountains to look for the pair and would find the vehicle at Lamb's Gap. Bundles of wildflowers in the back seat, and horribly, his deceased son and girlfriend along a mountain road just before sunrise. The flowers were for the upcoming baccalaureate services the next day, ahead of high school graduation. Leah was known in her town as being quite the singer, just recently playing a starring role in an amateur play production. Harry, according to friends, carried a gun around with him and had been known to get into a bit of trouble. He lived up in the mountains that surrounded his village, in a shack of sorts, and had shot a 10-year-old boy through the door, sight unseen. The boy had apparently been throwing stones against the shack, and Harry began shooting. One of the bullets injured the boy. Harry had feared that moonshiners might be after him, as he had told others he had been taking pictures of moonshine stills and doing some self-investigating. People don't like being investigated, so a killer bootlegger or bootleggers were a theory. Boys camping near the scene did tell investigators that they heard shots early the night before, but could not locate exactly where the shots had been fired, nor how many shots. There did not appear to be a struggle in or near the car, and the bodies, from what they could tell, had not been touched. Harry's notebook, found in his pocket, showed his writings about many things going on in his life and secrets, like what, with addresses and a map of the mountain region. Theories. So we've got a moonshiner seeking revenge on Harry taking pics and taking notes. That Leah had a jealous suitor that wanted to kill Harry. That a jealous husband came upon them and mistook Leah for his wife and killed Harry, thinking Harry was his wife's suitor. That it was an accidental shooting. For example, a hunter in the area misfired. The police seem to be concentrating more on the moonshiner theory, the police combing through the mountains in the area looking for any evidence of some whiskey-making hullabaloo and following water streams. I guess you need that to make moonshine? On this thread, the police were given a tip by a storekeeper who had let them know he had ordered special bullets for a man, a type of bullet that looked like the one found in one of the victims. I'm assuming they did get a name and are now trying to find that moonshiner, but no name was given, and given what happens, which is nothing, I'm assuming this tip did not pan out. It's 1934, 10 years later, and the murders are still unsolved. Major Lynn Adams, superintendent of the Pennsylvania State Police, still has a bullet and shell in the top drawer of his desk. These are pretty much the only clues. Quote, "Find the rifle and its owner, and we have the guilty man." End quote. Major Adams had said this time and time again. Scores of people were questioned, houses were searched for the weapon, lots of tips and advice from locals listened to and documented and checked. And nothing. Our second story, March 23rd, 1897, Paradise Ridge, Tennessee. The house of the Ade family had burnt to the ground, and in that house were Jacob Ade, his wife, his daughter, his son, and the daughter of another gentleman who was staying over. All had died. You may think, oh, what a tragic accident. Well, no. Already, very, very early on, it was believed to be murder. The names and ages of the deceased: Jacob, 57-ish years old, his wife Pauline, if Ancestry.com is right, she was about 50-ish, Lizzie, his 20-year-old daughter, Henry, his 13-year-old son, and Rose Moirer, age 10, daughter of Henry. All of the bodies, oddly, were found in one room, scattered around, but all in the same room. The house was a one-story with 5 rooms, 2 in the front with a hallway in between, and 3 rooms towards the back, forming an L shape. Jacob and his wife lived in the second of the 2 front rooms, just behind the parlor. All of the bodies were found in the couple's bedroom. An early theory was that Jacob, the head of household and said to be one of the oldest and most well-known farmers of the area, having lived here for some 25 years, was killed for his money. However, if it was a robbery, the robbers messed up big time. A big roll of money was one of the burnt-up items found in what was left of the house. Jacob owned some 400 acres of land and owned stocks and bonds, considered a successful financier, and was also well-liked. Justice Simpson was the one to discover what had happened. He lived about a half-mile away from the Ade's property and had gone out of his home at about 10 p.m. to fetch some water for a sick man who was staying at his house. I'm assuming grabbing water from an outside well. When he saw the Ade house was on fire, he rode over to the house and found it destroyed. He saw bodies and worked to rescue them from the ruins and was able to get out Jacob and his wife, Lizzie and Rosa. He then rode to neighbors for assistance. Henry's body was not found right away, and actually some thought maybe Henry had gotten away, but his body was found the next morning. The bodies, as you can imagine, were horribly, horribly burnt. I'm not going to get as graphic as the newspapers did, but it was pretty bad. Needless to say, though, some of the non-burn injuries to Rosa's body did support the possibility of murder. A portion of her skull was missing in what I believe was the back of her head, exposing her brain. But that portion exposed, and also her face, was not burnt like the rest of her. How could that be possible? Some believe that while the others were being murdered, Rosa had escaped, was recaptured, but was not killed until after the house had been set on fire. Then she was hit in the head by what may have been an axe. One of her arms was found raised over her head, her hand missing. Could she have been instinctively trying to block the blow and perhaps had her hand cut off too? I think basically Rosa's condition is mainly what has brought about the murder theory. And just myself, I would think there would have to be more than one murderer, right? If this theory about Rosa was correct, one person can't kill 4 people. Grab a fleeing girl, kill her too, and then set the house on fire. I mean, I guess anything is possible, but to me it seems like there had to be more than one murderer. Or if they were each killed separately in different parts of the house and then brought into this one room to then be burned to cover things up. Anyway, again, though robbery is still a motive theory, everyone's discounting it, again, because of all the money found burned up in the closet of Jacob's bedroom, where apparently everyone knew that's where he kept it. Another theory was based on a recent incident where Jacob had charged a man for stealing his hogs and had him arrested. However, there was presently no evidence that this man had committed the murder. And another theory was that it was the work of homeless people and officers with bloodhounds were searching the scenes for clues. But why would they do that? Just because they could? And that was it. Nothing more has been said. In doing some online searches, this was never solved. And of course, some information is different than what it was in the 1897 newspapers. So sorry for the shorter stories this week. Full-time job and reviewing tedious spreadsheets for hours on end this week has destroyed my eyeballs. Hopefully things will get back to normal-ish soon. See you.